The 2021 Lexus UX250H offers a lot in luxury as well as some expressive design. And this is all in an extra small luxury crossover. And we're going to take it for a drive. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Lauren Fix. This is the 2021 Lexus UX250H. Now, it's been on the market for a few years, but this hybrid motor offers a lot more than great fuel economy. It has modern design inside and some pretty cool colors, as well as an expressive look on the outside. And it makes a statement. Unlike a lot of the extra small, compact, luxury crossovers, they kind of just sort of are there. This one really makes a statement. Now, we're going to go through this vehicle in 10 different categories, because when you go into the dealer, they're going to sell you on that vehicle because that's their job. We're going to give you information on performance. We'll go into handling. We'll talk about safety, visibility, and seating. We'll also talk about technology and features, and then we'll go to the outside and talk about this expressive design, the quality of materials, and then we're going to go to the back, talk about cargo and value, and in the end, we will give you a Car Coach Reports total. All the competitors are listed down below, and there's links to the reviews that we've done or other journalists on our website at carcoachreports.com. You ready to take this for a drive? Let's start under the hood. Under the hood of this vehicle is a 2-liter hybrid motor that has a total combined 181 horsepower. It is backed by a constant velocity transmission known as a CVT, but that is all part of getting the best fuel economy, and we'll talk about that on the drive. All UXs are all-wheel drive. The 0 to 60 time is uneventful at almost 10 seconds. That is a lot. Now, I understand it's a hybrid. I know that you're not going to drive it in sport mode most of the time, but there is a sport mode as well as a normal mode and an eco mode. Really easy to use. The controls are up here. You turn it to sport or you turn it to eco. You press the button for normal. We'll go into sport mode and I'll show you the performance. Now, driving it around town, you shouldn't have a problem whatsoever. This vehicle is really quiet inside. When you put your foot in it and you're in the sport mode, and of course you've got your road resistance, it is pretty quiet, but when you put your foot really into it, it does have a bit of noise. Putting your foot in it, you can hear that CVT transmission doing its job, shifting gears. It's a bit loud. Is it too loud? No, it's a luxury car and it is insulated through the glass and everything, but this is part of the factors. When you test drive this vehicle, you have to see how it meets your needs. And knowing that it's uneventful from 0 to 60 may not mean anything to you. We have it in sport mode and it should be good enough for making a passing maneuver or getting on an on-ramp. But overall, when you're looking at performance for this vehicle, it earns a 7. All UX trim levels are all-wheel drive, and this is great for no matter what climate you live in. And this way there's one trim level, everybody gets the all-wheels driven platform. Now, you do have really good handling, and this vehicle is fun to drive. Now, remember, it is a Toyota, it is a Lexus, and this is a sportier model, if you want to call it that. And it does have pretty good handling, and it is fun to drive. Going over some of these rough roads, I intentionally travel so that you can experience the bumps and how this vehicle absorbs those or doesn't absorb them. And in this case, it does an okay job. Now, you have to remember, nothing's going to absorb every single pothole and line in the road, but this does a pretty good job of it, especially when you're talking about its competitors. Even the competitors like the BMW X1 and the Audi Q3 do really well on the road as far as absorbing the bumps and the grooves in the roadway. And this is a luxury vehicle and does a pretty good job of that. Now, when you're talking about the brakes, they're a little bit soft. I would love to see a firmer pedal. Now, is that going to make a difference in buying this car or not? That is a personal choice of yours. In my opinion, when you're talking about something, especially when it's in the sport mode, it should have a more aggressive, grippier brake. And it's funny because when you talk about safety, which we'll talk about in a minute, you'll see that that is really touchy. So you've got two polar opposites when it comes to how it reacts to you and how it reacts to what's going on around it. For 2021, the UX has no improvements in handling. It does have 18-inch tires, which are on our test vehicle, and does a pretty good job. The best part about the handling is the fun driving experience and how responsive it is, so we gave it a 7. Safety is a top priority no matter what you're driving, and this vehicle has a 5-star crash test rating for the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, known as NHTSA. You can go to their website, nhta.gov, and you can see all the ratings for all the competitors, and you'll see that there are some standard safety features that are on this vehicle, and they should be there because all the competitors competitors have it as well. And when you're talking about a luxury vehicle, even in this $40,000 price point, you should have a lot of standard safety features. There are a lot of standard safety aids in this vehicle, including blind spot detection, lane departure warning is optional. So there's a list of standard features and a list of optional features, and I think those optional features should be standard. I know it's a $40,000 luxury car, but when you're talking about luxury in a vehicle, even in the $40,000 range, you're seeing sedans and other crossovers that have it all as standard. And I think that's important because when you're driving this is a family vehicle, you're transporting people, and you really want to make sure that you're getting all those safety features, so you would have to purchase that extra package. And in this case, the luxury trim level does have some of those features. When you add in all the extra options, it raises the price of this car by about $5,000. Overall safety, top safety, you should not have to worry about this vehicle, especially if you load it up, and it earns an 8. When you're looking at visibility, this is 80% of your driving decision, so it is a safety feature. So people don't think about that when it comes to visibility. Now looking out the front, you have a nice piece of glass and you can easily see the road, and you can adjust the seat to whatever height works best for you. Now the sills are a bit high, that's fine, that's where you might rest your arm, it's a little high, but that also means that line continues to the back, and those in the back seat might have somewhat limited visibility, especially if you're in a child safety seat, and we'll talk about that in seating in just a second. But I want to tell you, looking out the back, you've got fixed headrests, and that's not a big problem. You've got your side mirrors, you've got your rear view mirror, and of course you've got your backup camera. Now a backup camera is standard on this vehicle. It's kind of dated because it's not crystal clear, and if you're not going to have an around view camera, which is surprisingly not on this car, because most vehicles in the luxury category do have an around view camera, and there is some blind spots, especially in those rear quarters, and we'll talk about that as we look at the outside of the vehicle. You can see that it's got a big amount of material in the way, and that's going to limit some of your visibility. Now the backup camera is, you can see pretty easily behind you, but I still think it would be nice with an around view. And overall, when it comes to visibility, this vehicle earns a 7. The UX seats 5 people. And first, I have to say, this interior material is excellent. And I love the purple with the light gray, really classy and modern and very luxurious. So I give them props for that. As far as the seats itself, there is two-way lumbar on the driver's side, and a heated steering wheel is optional. And that was around $150, so it's something you want to keep in mind. And when you buy the luxury trim, you also get the ventilated seats, which is worth it. So it does increase the price of the vehicle, but I think that's worthwhile. The passenger seat does not have lumbar, and that's important to note. Also, there is adjustable height seat belts, which I think is really important. And we'll take a look at the second row, and then I'll give you a rating. Here in the second row, it is a bit tight, but remember, this is a subcompact, so it is a very small SUV. So first off, I set the seat for me on 5'8", and this is the knee room. So it's pretty good, about a handprint width, so that's pretty good. Headroom is good if you're taller than I am, you may have some trouble. And also shoulder room is great for 2 adults. There are 2 latch systems for the child safety seats. In addition, it's important to note that behind the center console are 2 vents and 2 USB charging ports, 1 pocket behind the passenger seat, but nothing behind the driver's seat. And you get this real pretty gray material. Pulling down the center console, you'll see there are 2 built-in cup holders. That's great. These are 60-40 split seats, and we'll talk about the rest of that in cargo. I do like the purple interior color. It's very cool. It's one of my personal favorite colors, as you can tell, but there are other color choices available. Overall, for seating, there is no heated seats back here. Not that that's needed, but it's something you might consider. Also note there's very tight seating back here, and it's good for 2 people. So for a rating, this vehicle earns a 6. For technology, this is the center screen for the UX. It's a 10.3-inch screen, and the system may look up to date when it comes to the audio system and, of course, the integrated Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is new for 2021 for all the Toyota lineup, which includes Lexus. You'll see that this technology looks pretty good. Unfortunately, it's not touchscreen. You can't touch it. This mouse pad is what you're going to use. Now, it does have the buttons to make it operate, and of course we're used to this mouse, but in reality, this is not great use of technology, and it's kind of dated, and even worse, it's hard to operate. This is the mouse pad. You've got your tuning, your radio, volume, and media. There's buttons along the sides. I found it very cumbersome and certainly far from intuitive, because you have to move this mouse, and I do like the split screen, but I found this to be irritating, to put it nicely. The voice control was also a bit limited and didn't allow for the same features and voice recognition that you see on other vehicles that it competes with. As you can hear, this is kind of a dated setup with your audio system, your phone. There are apps, which includes the Wi-Fi, which is built in, and the Wi-Fi, which is built into the vehicle. There's also additional information on how good you've been driving, your trip information, and how the hybrid vehicle is working for you. There's additional settings that you can adjust to make the vehicle personalized. When you get to the climate button, you'll see that it allows for adjustment for the front seat, heating and cooling, as well as concierge services, which is standard with the Lexus lineup. Optional, there's a lot of settings that you can make for this vehicle to really make it about luxury, whether you do eco heating and cooling, and these are things that are personalized for you. There is an optional split screen you can see over here for navigation. You can have music, information on the vehicle, your climate control, or go back to a single screen. In the center, this is your speedometer, and when you change to different modes such as sport or back to eco or normal, the buttons are right here. There's also the words that change on the center screen. Pretty simple, lots of great information. On the left side, you have the ability to adjust the different pages that you want. It also allows you to change some of the safety features and get your fuel economy right at your fingertips. Overall, for technology, this is a bit dated. I know it's an improvement over what they had before, but overall, it earns a 6. When you're looking at features of this Lexus, you can start to the left side of the steering wheel and you've got those abilities to control that text screen to the left of the speedometer. On the right side, you have the cruise control as well as some safety features for lane departure warning and distance control. There's no paddle shifters on this vehicle, although it's not needed. This is all of your lighting controls. And on the right side are the wipers for the front and the rear. The right side of the steering wheel has some pretty normal controls for adjustments. Not much. Memory seating, and your regular door controls. To the left of that center screen is a really nice Lexus clock. To the right side of the steering wheel and next to the gauge pod is your sport, normal, and eco adjustments right there on the dial. Below the center screen is your vents, your power button, your climate control, which are a little bit cumbersome to use. Below your climate control, you have a CD player, wireless charging, and 2 cup holders. Next to your shifter, you have that mouse pad I'm not a fan of, and the mouse controller on top of the center console, and you have your EV mode and your auto hold. Inside your glove box, which is kind of small and good for a set of gloves, is 2 more USB charging ports. Up above, you have a manual sunroof, and for features, this vehicle is a bit limited. Has some really cool features, but overall, it earns a 7. The expressive design of this vehicle makes a huge statement. You've got this large grille, but this is part of that Lexus family look. And behind this logo is a lot of sensors. Although it may seem large, it's also blue to remind you that you have a hybrid. Now, I do love the paint colors that they offer. This is a really pretty pearl white, but also these LED headlights really make a huge statement, and they've done a great job on design. Now, this is trimmed by chrome down here as well as a little splitter, and these LED headlights really make a statement, and they allow you to see nice and clear. Our Lexus 250H has 18-inch alloy wheels, and it runs on low rolling resistant run flat tires, which may be a little bit loud, but what they also do is give you better fuel economy, and that's really what this vehicle is all about. You'll notice this matte black wheel trim, really nicely done. It just makes a statement that they have a mixture of bright and shiny and flat colors. It's also good for hiding dirt. Moving further back, you can see these cut lines, very unique and make a very modern expressive design. I keep saying expressive because it is kind of polarizing. Some people like this bold look and others don't. That's why there are different vehicles available. As P.T. Barnum says, there's a butt for every seat. You'll note that the roof rails are matte aluminum, which is really nice, and that hybrid logo to remind everyone this is a hybrid and it gets amazing fuel economy. I was kind of surprised, based on keeping everything smooth and clean, that this wiper blade was here. It should be tucked up underneath because you're going to have better fuel economy because it's going to be slippier through the wind. Also, you'll note that even the taillights have a design so that the air controls this vehicle. You don't have any turbulence. It's really well designed, but this thing's got to be moved up there. The Lexus logo is blue to remind you, and then matte black across the back just to keep it nice and clean and balanced, as well as the UX250H logo. Overall, the design for this vehicle, it's kind of cool, and it deserves a 9. When you're looking at the quality of this vehicle, it's Lexus. It's top of the line. Remember, Toyota is the parent company of Lexus, and you're seeing that top quality, reliable vehicle that you would expect when you're buying a brand of this name. But when you're looking at the materials, both the paint quality, the gaps, the build quality, the materials, different surface feels, both inside and out, they really thought about who's using it and the type of person that's going to really enjoy owning this vehicle. Now, you also get a 4-year, 50,000-mile warranty, as well as a 6-year, 70,000-mile powertrain. Because it's a hybrid, you want to have that protection. And I think that makes a big difference. And for quality, it earns a 9. Coming around to the back, the cargo space is a bit limited at 17.1 cubic feet of space. Now, there is a little bit of storage underneath this cover, but not that much. But you also have a 60-40 split seat. There's no pass-through. One thing that's important to note is when the batteries are underneath the chassis, it does take up some of the cargo space. And there is no spare tire because they have run-flat tires, and it's all about making this vehicle light and getting the best fuel economy. When you're looking at the value of this vehicle started at $39,995. With its few options, our test vehicle came in at $44,000, just a little bit over that. And it did really well compared to its competitors, which are listed down below, as well as links to those reviews, whether they're from me or other people on the Car Coach Reports channel. The value of this vehicle came in really well and got a score of 7. There are some pros and cons to this vehicle. On the pro side, the fuel economy is excellent and it's a lot of fun to drive. On the negative side, that infuriating interface where you've got to get to different things that you want in the technology, I thought was outdated and needs to be upgraded. You should have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, especially in a vehicle in this price point. And not having lumbar in the passenger seat just seems odd compared to some of the competitors. Now, there are some negatives, but there's so many positives that I want you to take one for a test drive. Remember, when you go into the dealership, they're going to try and sell you the vehicle, but you're going to be armed with a lot of information. If you got value so far, we haven't got to the total, make sure to like it and subscribe. And if you have questions, put those down below. We added up all 10 categories, and the 2021 Lexus UX250H Luxury Edition, not the F Sport, which would be a lot more fun to drive, earns a 74. Now, we put up more information on what Lexus and other brands are putting up on our social media. You can follow me at LaurenFix. And don't forget to put those comments down below. I will get answers to your questions. We could spend an hour going through this vehicle, and we want to make sure that you get the information you need before you make a purchase. If you're looking for more car smarts, you can check out my book, Lauren Fix's Guide to Loving Your Car. The link is down below. And check out our podcast, Total Car Score. It's on all platforms. We appreciate your time, and thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.